As I turned the corner towards the finish line, I pulled out my phone. With no preparation or thought in advance, I said to the camera, if you got a dream in sight, put the fucking blinders on, do what you got to do. 26.2, let's go, baby. Moments later, I checked off one of the biggest bucket list items I had for myself. I completed my first marathon. And to put the cherry on top, I ran the whole thing without having to stop for a break once. And to think just 16 months before this moment, I could barely run a mile. I had indeed cracked the code for creating new habits. Running became part of my identity. Now, when I first started getting into running, it honestly sucked. I had gone through my waves of falling in and out of love with it throughout my late teens and into my 20s. It was right on par for when the warmer months were upon us in the Northeast. Time to shred the dad bod, back to running we go. But when I would get back into it, I would barely be at the end of my street and I was gasping for air. People always talked about accessing a runner's high, but I wasn't sure how that was possible when all I could do was try my best to not collapse. Like anything in life, stay consistent long enough and it gets easier. It was the middle of the pandemic and I had nothing but free time. I was living in Los Angeles and the shutdown rules were extremely strict. You were only allowed to leave your house for 3 reasons: to go to and from work, to get essential groceries and supplies, or to exercise outdoors. Itching to get outside of my home, I felt the urge to once again find this love for running. So I started, slow and steady. The goal was just 1 mile a day, and that was plenty. As I mentioned, getting down to the end of the block was a real struggle. Once that became easier, I pushed towards the next street, then further and further and further. A few weeks had passed, and then I was capable of running 2 miles at a time. Wow, I thought to myself, we're really doing it. Then 2 turned into 3. 3 turned into 5, then 10, then 18, and finally the full marathon distance of 26.2 miles. It was a slow build, but with discipline and consistency, it made what felt impossible become It made what felt impossible become possible. Running was a habit that I was motivated to build on, but swap it out with any other habit you're trying to build on, and the framework and formula still remains the same. The reason you fail when it comes to creating new habits and making them stick is because you're being too hard on yourself. You're scared of trying something new. You don't want to look silly or fall or fail. You don't know where to start. These are all valid points and part of the human experience. But today I want to help you eliminate those excuses for good. In order for you to make these habits stick, you need to make it simple and easy to complete. When you're able to remove resistance, have a plan for when to execute it, and you allow action to create the motivation, then you're unstoppable. And you can do that by using this framework, what I call the frictionless habit framework. Step 1, identify the habit and the why. Saying I want to become a runner wasn't enough. It didn't provide me enough internal, let's do this energy within me. Saying I wanted to become a runner because I wanted to improve mental clarity, increase my daily energy, and want to prioritize my overall well-being, now we're cooking. That emotionally connects me on so many levels, which encouraged me to follow through on becoming the runner. Now I had clarity on what I wanted to do and why I wanted to do it. Step 2, schedule it into your calendar. 2024 is around the corner, and let's be honest, most people will give up on their new habits before the end of the month of January. Why? Because I believe most lack scheduling it into their lifestyle. When we don't schedule it in, it becomes extremely hard to find the inspiration at a random given moment to do the thing. It makes it extremely easy to just push off and worry about it another day. So we need to schedule it into our lives in advance so that we know when to do the thing. I chose to run on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays to start off. And to take it a step further, I also identified that I was going to do it at 7 a.m. Now I was extremely clear on what days and what time, which created healthy internal pressure to do it. Step 3, focus on today's progress, not tomorrow's. Very important. It was extremely overwhelming to think to myself, how am I going to run a marathon when I was struggling to get a mile completed? I had to reframe my thinking and said only focus on the run that I needed to complete that day. That was it. It didn't matter how far I was going. What mattered was that I was showing up and doing the necessary work. Oftentimes, you're way too focused on the work that is yet to come when all you need to focus on is today's progress. Get obsessed with the 1% growth per day mindset. This will help you put all of your attention into crossing off today's work and help you celebrate that small win once it's accomplished. Step 4, keep the momentum moving forward. As I began to approach being able to run 5, 8, and 10-mile runs, I needed to keep that consistency moving forward. All it would take was a few days off in a row that then turned into a few weeks, and before I knew it, I would be back to square one. What allowed me to take breaks when needed without worrying about losing traction was applying the 2-day rule. The rule allows someone to take a day off when needed, but encourages you to never take off back-to-back days in a row. The idea is that through using this rule, you will continue to make progress even if needing to take days off. Even when you slow down on the off days, you've still created enough forward momentum that will allow you to pick back up where you left off the next day. Before we get moving, continue to move forward, I do want to call out, if you are looking to create momentum for your week, sign up for my Stay on Track newsletter. If you're not already, I send that out every Monday, and it is a script of these podcasts before the world hears them on the show. So if you want to sign up, head over to bobbyhobert.com/stay on track. If you're someone that's looking for support with designing and scheduling your day so that you no longer waste time on the wrong things each day, check out my free Master Your Minute video course. Yes, it is free. We've had nearly 1,500, almost 2,000 students actually go through the program. You can sign up at bobbyhobert.com/MYM video course. And lastly, if you're looking for one-on-one coaching support, I do have an intensive program that's called Lost to Limitless. If that's of interest, if you're looking for support with a one-on-one capacity and working directly with me, head over to bobbyhobert.com/coach to learn more about the program and apply. I do have spots to start immediately. So if that's of interest and you don't want to wait for the new year to start working on yourself, reach out and apply now. All this can be found in the description below, or head to just bobbyhobert.com to learn more. Thank you. How many times in our life do we need to hear it is a marathon, not a sprint, for it to finally click? This philosophy has been my fuel to the fire within me when setting my eyes on the prize for a goal in any area of my life. Struggling with social media growth, it comes in waves. Feeling stuck while trying to get back into a rhythm with my routines after moving to Austin. Change takes a lot of time, attention, and energy out of you. Not seeing enough clients come in the door on a monthly basis. Great businesses are not built overnight. This philosophy isn't just for runners. It's for those who want to create a lifestyle that is aligned with their goals, priorities, and interests. That sound like you? Because I sure bet it does if you're listening to this episode. Habits take time. There's no shortcuts. Yes, you will see the sexy headlines that will make it feel tangible, like there's arm's reach for a hefty price of those headlines, but please do not cave. You have the willpower and ability to create these new habits in your life right now. Use the framework I discussed today, and in just a few short months, you will have transformed yourself into a reality that you currently dream of. The only thing separating you from getting there is a commitment and patience. That's it. There's no secret formula because I just gave it to you. We're not shooting or aiming for results overnight. We're not trying to burn ourselves out right out the gate. We are focused on small, sustainable, and consistent progress. That's the secret sauce. Habit building mindsets. And once you understand that habits can change, you have the freedom and the responsibility to remake them. Ooh, that's good. Feeling sorry for yourself in your present condition is not only a waste of energy, but the worst habit you can possibly have. Completely agree with that. Let today be the day you give up on who you've been for who you can become. Ooh, I'm ready to rip, baby. Last one. Success is the sum of all small efforts repeated day in and day out. Let those mindsets be inspiration for you. Questions from the community. Michael, why is it so hard to be constant at the gym? Simply put, you have not made the habit of going become automatic. It needs to become part of your lifestyle. The same way you don't think about brushing your teeth in the morning is the same way you need to think about going to the gym. Pick the days of the week you want to go. Lock in the time you want to be there. Play music or podcast to hype you up 30 minutes before going. Put on the clothes and get in there. So simple on paper and feels extremely hard in the moment. But flip that mindset. Make the process as easy as possible. Remind yourself of why you're going to the gym in the first place. Jess, best book to read for breaking habits. My all-time favorite book when it comes to habit building is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Even if you're not looking to break habits, I think it is extremely important to understand the frameworks, tips, and tricks to creating new ones. When you understand how to build them, you can similarly use the same knowledge to break them. So please check out that book. Sorcha, what to do when you don't have buy-in from your other half. If I've learned anything about living with or having a partner in your life, communication is the key. I would suggest finding time to sit down and chat with your other half and explain to them the habit or habits you're looking to build into your life, the reasons why you want to be consistent with them, and last but most importantly, how you feel your partner can best support you through this process. Please have that conversation. Challenge for you. Take the framework we discussed today and put one habit through it for the next week. Don't wait for 2024 to start making these changes. Start immediately. And as a refresher, the frictionless habit framework. Step 1, identify the habit and the why. Step 2, schedule it into your calendar. Step 3, focus on today's progress, not tomorrow's. And step 4, keep the momentum moving forward. Once you've confidently added one new habit into the mix, add the next one. If you've enjoyed this podcast episode, these are completely free to those listening right now. My only ask is that you please take a moment to share this podcast out on your IG story, tag me. You don't know how this episode could resonate with someone that's following you, and that honestly helps the growth of the show so much. So please, if you've enjoyed this episode, screenshot it, post it to your story, tag me at Bobby, that's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's and a Y, and let me know what you thought of the episode. You can also leave a review on Spotify. We are currently at 131 reviews. Let's go. And we're continuously trying to grow those reviews. Or if you're listening on iTunes, please leave a review on there as we currently have 95 reviews. Thank you for tuning in. It's the Bearded Man Podcast.